They felt stuck, like Amazon FBA was costing them more than it was helping. Their margins were thinner, and they just wanted to start making the sales channel more profitable for their bottom line while continuing to make efforts to also grow top line revenue. So we dug deep and find where were leaks happening. Are you ready to unlock the strategies that will scale your Amazon store to six figures and beyond? Whether you're looking to grow sustainably or scale with confidence, we've got the insights and tools you need to succeed. Welcome back to the Six Figure Amazon Store podcast, the show where we're going to dive into strategies and insights that help Amazon brands and sellers to really build profitable businesses. I'm Becky, your host. Today's topic is one that I think hits home for many brands, and this is stop losing money on Amazon FBA. And I'm going to give you some proven tips to save. So, for those of you already selling on Amazon or for brands that are not yet on the platform, fees associated with selling on Amazon are always a drawback. Typically, when brands that we talk with, they'll say that they just can't get the margin on Amazon. I've even talked to brands that said they were losing money on Amazon. And if that's a concern that you've ever had, today's episode is for you. I'm going to share with you ways to stop losing money on Amazon that can eat away at your profits so that by the end of today, you're going to have some practical tips to help you become more profitable and make Amazon FBA work for your business. So I remember years ago when we first started working with brands on Amazon, one thing that kept coming up was how much money they were losing without even realizing it, or that they wanted to see a better return on ad spend, for instance, on their ads, or just even overall on Amazon. FBA was really kind of supposed to be seamless and a great way to scale, and it is. But there are fees, and they saw it as hidden fees. They saw sometimes it's poor inventory management can be an issue, and sometimes even unexpected costs that you're not aware of that can drain profits faster than really being able to keep up with. So let me share about a story about the natural personal care brand that came to us wanting to grow their sales on Amazon while also making sure that they remained profitable. That was a huge key for them. And they came to us kind of overwhelmed by all the moving pieces and FBA fees. There is a lot that goes on with Amazon. So they were paying high storage fees because essentially they were sending in too much inventory to Amazon's warehouse without considering, okay, there's demand fluctuations that happen, especially more lower seasons or even off seasons. And their products were sitting there for months, and those long term storage fees were adding up. They felt stuck, like Amazon FBA was costing them more than it was helping. Their margins were thinner, and they just wanted to start making the sales channel more profitable for their bottom line while continuing to make efforts to also grow top line revenue. So we dug deep and find where were leaks happening. And some fees, like I mentioned, are more obvious. Like there's things like storage fees, there's fulfillment fees for using FBA, but there were also other fees that they hadn't considered, like accounting for returns and how could they optimize their shipping rates when sending into FBA. So really kind of auditing and looking at things, we looked at a few key areas that really could save money. And by implementing a few changes, we were able to cut expenses that were costing them each month on Amazon, which really put them back on the track to becoming more profitable. So let me share with you some proven tips that will really help you stop losing money on FBA, Amazon, and really to start saving. So one of the first ones is really optimize your inventory levels. I kind of mentioned this before, but inventory management is crucial. So you don't want to send in too much stock at once, especially if it's not a fast seller or fast mover. Think about, if you've never sold on Amazon yet, how are your sales on your own website? You're thinking about the ones that sell more. Those are the ones that you do want to send in more of. And instead, there's one thing you could do is use Amazon's Inventory Performance Index, IPI, to monitor and then really improve your stock levels. So also always make sure to adjust your inventory shipments based on demand seasonally, like I mentioned, because your brand is going to be unique. And if you are in off season, for instance, in Q4 or, in first quarter, you want to not be spending too much, especially on Q4, because you're going to be spending more on storage fees. That is the most expensive time of year to store product at Amazon's warehouses. So it's important to always try and stay in stock. That is key. You don't want to run out of stock if at all possible. But overstocking, especially now, this year in 2024, Amazon introduced a lot of additional storage fees and fees in general. So that can really cost you. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind with that update in 2024 that I just mentioned, that keeping too little at Amazon can cost you as well, because this year they did introduce where if you need to keep 28 days of historical sales supply, and if you don't, then you get charged for that. Don't be worried though if you're looking at phasing something out and stop selling it, just let that run out. But that's for product that you intend to keep selling. So keep that in mind. Honestly, nice little rule of thumb is try to keep it around 45 days. That's kind of a good rule of thumb. That way you're a little bit more and accounting for growing. And hopefully you are growing and your sales aren't declining. Okay, next, you want to reevaluate your packaging size and weight. So, FBA fees are tied directly to the size and the weight of your products. So, if possible, think about how can I re-engineer my packaging to reduce the dimensions, to make it lighter weight. That can ultimately lead to your lower fulfillment fees, and you can make that exclusive for some of your products with how you're packaging them that you're going to send to Amazon. Also, think about reviewing your products that are priced on, the low end, for instance, because if you offer it for under $10, you get a break in fulfillment costs, and that could actually improve your sales velocity and conversions at the same time. So for any products that maybe you do have around that $11, $12 mark, look into testing that, adjusting that price to see how does that change your fee structure? How does that change your conversions and your sales velocity? Amazon ads bleeding keywords. So if you are running ads on Amazon, you are not at least checking weekly to see, your ads, which keywords are leading to sales and which are not converting or leading to any sales, you are most likely bleeding money in your Amazon ads. And that could hurt your overall ad performance. And another problem that we've seen in managing over seven figures in Amazon ad spend last year alone is that money could end up not being spent on those keywords that have been getting you sales, which will then hurt your overall return on ad spend. So, you could essentially be spending way too much money on those words that are expensive. They're not even leading to sales. And then it doesn't even get, because of how you have your campaign set up, your other keywords that were getting you sales may not even be spending the money that they could be that then give you a return. Therefore, you might be seeing a lower return on ad spend, and that is a common problem that we hear from brands and that we've seen when we look at accounts to give them kind of an Amazon ad audit. Now, money Amazon may owe you. This is one of my favorite ones. If you aren't regularly checking for reimbursements and reconciliations on FBA shipments, so ones that you're sending into Amazon, especially if you're doing high volume and maybe you're shipping by the pallet, if you use Amazon, or I'm sorry, it used to be that Amazon allowed you to recover money when they may owe you for inventory that they lose at their warehouse, that they damage at their warehouse, customers say that they're gonna return, but they actually don't return it. You used to have 9 months to recover that money, which was enough time, right, to go back and make sure you're not missing out on what Amazon may owe you. But October 1st, 2024, it is being cut down to just 60 days, which is the biggest cut in the time that we've ever seen it in the 8.5 years that we've been helping brands on Amazon. It was previously cut before, but going from 9 months to 60 days is a huge cut. So, for instance, just to give you an idea, especially if you're doing higher volume, we've recovered over $2,000, and that was just in 1 month for a client. So, even if you're doing smaller shipments, you could potentially have hundreds of dollars if you go, back into your account that would be deposited from Amazon that they might owe you that might just be sitting there. And if you now don't request it in time, then you will just miss out on that money and it's no longer eligible to get money back from Amazon into your account. So the next thing is take advantage of pallet shipments. So have you tried using pallet shipments yet? Even if you don't yet have a full pallet's worth of inventory, do keep in mind that you're able to do less than a pallet. So you could go from paying, obviously this will depend on your product and the weight, but let's say it's 25 cents to 50 cents is kind of typical per unit to get it shipped into Amazon's warehouse. It could then go down to pennies per unit, which could be a huge cost savings for your brand. So make sure to see if that could be an option for you with your products and how you're shipping them in. Next, you want to look at auditing your FBA fees. So Amazon does sometimes overcharge on FBA fees, and it's due to kind of just miscalculation in size or weight. So you want to regularly review, kind of audit your charges and file claims if for any discrepancies that might be helpful to recoup hundreds, if not thousands of dollars annually. Now, years ago, we came across this because there was a listing And the weight, it changed very, very slightly, but it like bumped it up to the next price tier of charges, like a higher price tier. And it was incorrect that it was updated to. And so it ended up, like I said, I think it was around the cost of over $1 per unit sold. And when we found that out, that was hundreds of dollars every month, every few weeks, basically, that we were able to be saving for that account as a result of making sure that that listing was correct on the product weight and dimensions. So that is something that you do want to pay attention to, make sure it's correct inside Seller Central, especially if you've had any issues with third party sellers or anyone that may have originally created your listings, that could become an issue. So, really, the bottom line is that Amazon FBA, it can be a powerful tool for your business, but it's also crucial that you're managing it, that you know your numbers, and really by optimizing your inventory, reevaluating, thinking about your packaging, looking at those fees, keeping an eye on those, and take advantage of Amazon's different programs, especially for products that are under a certain weight and price point. You can really start turning those costs into savings that'll help grow your bottom line. So, thanks for joining me today. Make sure to check out the links in the show notes below to join our Amazon Insiders newsletter. There's also a link in there for our private Facebook group. Just know that we do monitor who we allow inside that group. So, please make sure to add your brand name when requesting to join so that we know who's requesting because we're particular about who we let in. So, until next week, happy selling and talk to you later. Bye. Just like your customer reviews on Amazon help you grow, your review on Apple Podcasts helps us reach more brands like you. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you please take a moment to leave us a review? We'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much.